From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome into this Thursday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We will go over Neal's picks for the week, where we are all very, very mediocre, but that's okay. You come for entertainment. Hopefully you are never actually putting dollar bills on what we say, because that would be dumb on your part and a catastrophe. So that's on you, really. It's Darwinism if you do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So,
I don't feel any guilt for that at all.
Yeah, that one's on you. So we'll get into Neal's picks. We do not have Jeffrey today. We were not expecting that. Not his fault whatsoever. So we will move on. We will march on. Get through today's podcast with myself and the bald one over there. Brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. The free gas for your sweepstakes going on through Halloween, through October 31st. All you got to do is sign up for the Mobile Rewards Plus card. Hopefully you already have that, because I've been telling you about it forever. You get at least 8 gallons of gas on a fill-up. You're automatically entered. Every single time, 8 gallons or more, entered for that free gas for your sweepstakes with all Blue Sky locations throughout Mississippi, including the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. The number is 662-257-1900. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford you're looking for. He's going to send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You know the routine by now. Here's the deal. Here's what you get. You get incredible service. You get honest service. You get delivery options. You get a lot of a relationship with your dealer that you just don't get at most places. And I know you say, well, you and he are friends and stuff, but I've seen him do it for other people too. He just takes care of people. He wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy, and he'll prove that to you. Call the number. You'll start to find out. 662-257-1900.
So post on the board about it. We are inching closer to copying Jay's idea with the post-game show. We are moving that direction. We hopefully have a very firm deadline for ourselves for that. And
Yep.
I think it will end up being a daily podcast deal as well. So a little more value for you guys. Just we are listening. We are moving toward it. We've put some resources toward it, and we're getting there. So just a little update there on that front.
Yeah, between the two of us, I think we spent a little more than $2,000 yesterday.
That is correct.
So
It's there. It
the
should look
investment,
good.
it was painful. I stared at the button for a little while before I hit it.
Is that the biggest Amazon purchase you've ever made?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Okay. Just wondering.
We don't get any Amazon revenue anymore.
It's been set up in processing hell for 6 months.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They were really good, then they got mad at us about something, and then we kind of re-upped, and then it went to hell.
I don't know what they were mad at us about either.
I kind of do. I thought it was dumb, but whatever. It's fine. They were mad because we told people to bookmark the link. I don't know why it matters to them. They're still getting their money either way.
Yeah, that, like I said, it makes no sense.
Yeah. So anyway, that's...
Yeah, it's something that we've talked about for a long time, and frankly, we're sort of intimidated by. I think even you were a little intimidated by the technology of it all.
And I'm still a little worried about a little of the process of it. It was, in the grand scheme, not that expensive, but it was definitely an expense we would have to have made. It was, a little lazy, probably, if you want to be honest. Just talking to our friends here.
I think so. I think it's also, as we begin to, and I never know how to say, I like being honest with people who listen to us and people who subscribe to us, because I think that pays off in the long run. We can't when I say we, I don't mean just us. I just kind of mean everybody in general can't continue to cover the programs that we cover exactly the way we've always covered them. You have to adapt. You have to change. You have to acknowledge that the people that we cover have, in many ways, and I think you disagree with the way I'm going to say this, but I don't think you disagree with the principle of it. In many ways, the people that we cover have gone into competition against us.
Not true.
They don't necessarily view it that way, but they have. We don't get access to people, but they do, and that's cool. Here's the part where people go, well, you're mad. Nope, not mad at all. Not mad at all. It's a business. They're running a business, and if that's the way they need to market their business, I get it. However, that means I have to change the way I do what I do because I have to adapt. I can't keep running the damn ball up the middle if the other team's going to stack 10 people in the box. You got to do other things. So I think that's what's happened. And not going to sit here and give it all away, but you and I are pretty good at market analysis. We've proven to be pretty good at it, and there's an opportunity.
And it's moving quickly. We're getting there.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think we have the date. I'm not saying it out loud, but
no, I don't want to promise a day, but you and I have I think we're going to be fine.
Frankly, I don't see any way to not make it, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah. I will say that next week, for all of our family of podcasts, we'll get stuff to you, but it might be a little screwy next week at times.
Mm-hmm. So, I kind of had something here. Let's see what we'll get to first. Let me ask you this question. And this is, again, I feel like we're couching everything and giving all these caveats about not criticizing anybody today, and I'm really not doing that. I'm just kind of curious, though. So, I know a lot of people don't care. A lot of people do not care whether we get quarterbacks, whether we get anybody media-wise whatsoever. But last night, another night where we asked for any quarterback in the world, and did not get anyone. And talked to Matt about quarterbacks. He basically said he's going to tell the starter on Saturday who the starter is. They're splitting first-team reps. Tisdale got a few first-team reps. Matt looked fine. He did not look limited in his throwing. However, he has not been hit because, obviously, you're not going to hit one of your quarterbacks in practice. Here's my question, though, and this got brought up by somebody else in the room last night, but I'm going to protect their name, protect the innocent, because I don't know if they would want it associated with them, but I'm going to kind of steal this for this question. Do you think that one of the reasons Plumlee hasn't been available, because we're talking about a really sharp kid, talking about somebody who even in the recruiting process was, hey, he's got that kind of that leadership he's a great interview, he was on this here podcast, he was fantastic, somebody who's very comfortable from a media standpoint, obviously. Do you think part of the reason that that's the case is they went so far out of their way to market Matt Corral as the face of the program? He was the first ever freshman to go to SEC Media Days. It was his job. It was his team. It was his program. And even through an injury, 3 weeks into the season, if you start throwing Plumlee out there constantly, it has a shift in a marketing message that gets, at least for them in their minds, a little awkward.
Let me think.
Okay.
This is an example where we should have done some show prep because I would have had a thought. It's possible.
And now, look, this might simply be Matt going, hey, I don't know who the quarterback is. I'm not giving you any of them. It might just be that. But that was said last night in the room while we were waiting, and I went, well, that's true. They did go, at least from a precedent in the SEC, out of the way to hand Matt Corral the program. And I'm not criticizing that. I was very happy that Matt Corral went to Media Day. That was a positive. That's not my point.
My inclination is no. My answer is no. I don't think that's what's going on. Because, and boy, this is going to come across the wrong way, I don't think they're media savvy enough to have that sort of a strategy. My guess is the concern is if you start letting Plumlee come all the time to these press things. And look, I don't know who the starting quarterback is on Saturday. I really don't.
I really thought it was Corral earlier in the week, and now I'm as confused as ever. I have no clue.
But my guess is they are wanting to see – they're wanting to hang on to a room full of quarterbacks for as long as they can. That's my guess. My guess is they don't want to alienate anyone. They don't want to get anybody starting to go down the road in their mind of transfer portal. And let's keep this really real. Kids don't wait till the end of the season to start exploring their options.
Well, no, Montrell Custis went in the thing yesterday, or at least within the last week, and he's not a quarterback who are absolutely the most valued people on the transfer portal.
Any one of those 4 quarterbacks, including Kincaid Dent, but certainly the first 3, could get on the phone right now and get other schools interested, and nobody would ever know. They could have their family do it. They could have a high school coach do it. I mean, let's not be naive. If Matt Corral, for example, got unhappy and decided, I want to go back to California somewhere, it would not be difficult at all through back channels for him to explore his options, line something up, have it set up, and then enter the transfer portal. That happens all the time. So when and if something like that happens, don't come to the board going, boy, it's wrong, it's unethical. Stop. That stuff's happening all over the place. Chase Rogers, for example, didn't enter the transfer portal until he knew Ole Miss was going to take him.
Mm-hmm.
So conversations happened. That wasn't magic. So my guess is that's the hang-up. I don't think it is a concern over one of the kids might tell you, yeah, I'm starting, or no, he's starting.
Well, I don't think they know.
Well, and I don't think it really matters because they've only played 5 games. I promise you, Derek Mason and his defensive staff have watched every Ole Miss offensive snap enough times to break it down in their sleep. They've seen it all. There's not going to be some, oh, God, we weren't prepared for. No, they'll be ready for both guys. They might not have the players to make plays. They might not be able to execute the plan, but they'll have a strong plan for both guys. They're big boys getting paid big boy money at a big boy SEC school. So I don't buy that part of it. It feels like an attempt to not get somebody upset. And my guess is that somebody is Corral. But that's a guess. No one's told me that. I'm guessing. I can't imagine, being honest, I can't imagine a scenario where Matt Corral loses his job this season and comes back.
Yeah.
Now, he'd have to sit a year unless he had some sort of a hardship.
And it might just be his gig. I don't know.
And it might be his gig. We're having a podcast we didn't expect to have because we thought we'd have Jeffrey. There's a lot of fans out there that they like Plumlee for a number of reasons. He's a Mississippi kid. He's got a charisma about him. He's easily marketable. He plays super hard, maybe too hard. He's a 2-sport guy, the baseball thing. I mean, CBS had him leading off and playing center field for the Rebels next year. There's a lot there that for a fan, the diehard, I grew up in Jackson and I've cheered for the Rebels all my life fan, frankly, Plumlee's more relatable than Corral. Just being honest. I mean, Plumlee walks out, looks like he just walked out of the Sigma Nu house. Corral does not. And that's into all this. But we've not seen enough, at least I haven't. You might differ. You out there in the audience might differ. I haven't seen enough from Plumlee throwing the football to go, oh, yeah, he's ready to lead an SEC program to 8+ wins in a season.
No, I think he needs a package. That's what I think.
So, that it's the part of it where there's conflict is fans say, well, I tell you what, man, if Luke gets next year, he better win 8 games. And then they turn around and go, and I want Plumlee. what have you seen from him that makes you think he could win 8 games? So far, I haven't seen that. Now, I agree. I think there's a package for him, and he can throw the ball enough to make that package. This is based on the very small sample size that we've seen so far. He can throw the ball enough that it's not just, when they put Dexter McCluster in the Wildcat package years ago, you pretty much knew what was coming.
Well, yeah, Plumlee is actually a quarterback. I mean,
yeah, he could throw the football some, but I'm not prepared based on a third quarter against an Alabama team. Let's take a step back and look at that game for a minute. I've talked to people around the Alabama program. That is a bored football team right now. It is a concern inside that program that they're not even complacent, but just bored. They blow everybody out. Nobody challenges them. There's a feeling among players that, hey, once we hit the switch, we go, that the coaches are concerned about. And they hit the switch in the second quarter against Ole Miss. Boom, 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 boom. Game's over. 38-10 at the half. There was not one person inside that locker room, in Alabama locker room in Tuscaloosa, that thought, boy, we really got to come out with some intensity here in the third quarter because these guys could get us. They knew the game was over. And if I recall correctly, they made it 45-10 pretty quick. And they turn it off. You don't play with the same intensity up 5 touchdowns as you do down 1. And so Ole Miss rolled up some yards and did some things. I'm not taking anything away from it, but I do think it's imperative to keep it in perspective as you evaluate which quarterback is the future of your program. And I think there's a decent chance that the future of their program at quarterback is a kid at Hoover High School right now in Alabama.
Robbie Ashford, for everybody.
Yes. I think there's just a lot there. And my suspicion is that Ole Miss is trying to hang on to these guys for another season to sort it out. I have a hard time believing that they've looked at Matt Corral, his body of work, John Rice Plumlee and his body of work, and then if I read your comments correctly, he said that Tisdale even got some snaps with the ones.
Correct, yes.
That tells me they don't know who their quarterback is. Not just for Saturday, but in general. And if you want to keep them around for the competition, you're going to have to try to keep at least 2 of the 3 happy. Transfer portal, good or bad, has changed the game. Especially at that position. Kids leave.
Instant gratification for the most part.
Look at Justin Fields at Ohio State.
Well, somebody did a story on this the other day. It was The Athletic or Sports Illustrated or somebody. And essentially, an overwhelming percentage of quarterbacks were either freshmen or transfers in Power 5.
Yeah, the kid for Vanderbilt's transfer, Riley Neal.
Yeah.
Arkansas is going with the transfer.
Bo Nix, freshman.
Yeah, Bo
freshman
Nix
or transfer.
Ole Miss is playing freshman. Trask is a transfer, correct?
State's playing a transfer.
State's playing a transfer.
LSU's playing a transfer.
It's amazing.
Think about it.
Yeah, we're doing it right. Missouri's playing a transfer.
Yeah. South Carolina's playing a freshman. Kentucky's playing a transfer.
If Mac Jones becomes the quarterback at Alabama next year, he is a rarity. Highly recruited kid who waited 3 years to get his opportunity to start.
Mm-hmm.
And he graduates, so he can grad transfer somewhere next year.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you.
He'll be valuable.
He's saying to himself, and I'm guessing here, I'm starting somewhere next year.
Mm-hmm. If it's not here, it'll be somewhere else.
Look at the top programs in the country. Ohio State's playing a transfer. Oklahoma's playing a transfer.
Clemson's playing a kid that was a freshman.
Yeah, Clemson's playing a kid who walked in and kicked out the incumbent and started as a freshman.
It's crazy. Georgia's playing a freshman.
Yeah, a kid who started as a freshman. So, I mean, the numbers say you can't keep all these guys happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It's from a media standpoint, going full circle, it's the only story that we're truly interested in right now. We being the media, not just you and me, just everybody. And we don't get it yet. And this is not a criticism, because if I'm the people producing the season, I'm doing this too. They've got John Rice Plumlee mic'd up.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting, full circle. That tells me that your friend's hypothesis is while logically sound, is incorrect.
Yeah.
If they were dead set on making Corral the face of the program, they wouldn't have mic'd up Plumlee for his start at Alabama.
Yeah, it's fair.
They know what the story is. They're allowed access to the story. They don't want the people who cover the program to have access to the story. And frankly, and this is where it gets interesting, people love talking about media stuff. I know we're up against a break, but they give us who they want, and we have two choices. We can go, nope, I'm good, or we can march and beat with the program. And most of the people, frankly, self-included, march and beat with the program most of the time. You give me Mac Jones and the Lemonade story, and we write it. I think at some point the only way that you, quote, combat, end quote, that is you say, no, I'm good. I'm going to go back. I'm going to write something original. I might write a commentary. I might write an opinion. I might look at Pro Football Focus numbers and put together some sort of an analytical piece. I might need to talk to somebody about, hey, what do you see? And I think that's where we have to go from a media standpoint. I think just going over there Tuesday and Wednesday and talking to the four people that they give us and making it a notebook is frankly lazy.
We'll continue this conversation in 1 second. First, tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Settle County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and with rates as low as they've been in about 2 years. Great time to talk to Jason about refinancing, about purchasing with Community Mortgage. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
We are also brought to you by the Refrigeration Company, TRC, owned and operated by Jeremy Watler. He's been in the refrigeration field for more than 20 years, including 5 as a national service manager at TRC. They understand that great service means being responsive. Their highly trained, responsible, and dedicated staff are available 24/7 to ensure your complete satisfaction. They specialize in ammonia refrigeration, but they work on any HFC, HCFC, or CO2 systems. They are based in Spanish Fort, Alabama, but they're licensed in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and South Carolina as well. They can handle all of your company's refrigeration needs, including installation, fabrication, service, compressor rebuilds, ammonia detection, calibration, vibration analysis, and more. To learn more, call Jeremy Watler at 251-348-8533 or email him at jeremy@therefrigeco.com. That's Jeremy at THEREFRIGCO. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you are in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast, and you'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's Grenada Nissan USA.com. Also brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. They'll be in New Orleans today, Houston Friday and Saturday. If you are in that area and you want to get a private fitting, book an appointment, you can do that. Send them an email, info@bluedeltajeans.com. And then while you're getting fitted for your pair of Blue Delta jeans, ask about the Gino, because they are going to start being sewn in late October, right around Halloween. You don't want to miss this opportunity to reserve your spot in the first run of this great new fabric from Blue Delta Jeans. My picks are up. We'll talk about them in a little while. They're brought to you by Southern Craft Stove and Tap. It's located off Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue. Southern Craft Stove and Tap places an emphasis on food and atmosphere, mixing the quality of fine dining with the come-as-you-are environment. Featuring 30 craft beers and offering a high-quality selection of cuisine and libations, Southern Craft Stove and Tap has you covered for any occasion. Join them for lunch, dinner, Sunday brunch, or have your favorites catered out. Catering orders placed online currently receive $25 off any order totaling $100 or more, so avoid the chaos of parking on the square. Head over and experience carefully crafted dishes with your favorite Southern ingredients. Southern Craft Stove and Tap, Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford.
Podcast is brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com is the website. Go to the events page, see everything going on, including Dr. Mountain back tonight at Off Square Books. You know, that is every single Thursday night, and then plus much more as well. Live on the Lawn is tomorrow from 11:30 to 1 in the University Museum. The public double-decker bus tours are every Friday of home football weekends, 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 tomorrow. A couple different options for that. The Ole Miss Homecoming Parade is tomorrow at 5:30 on the square, and then you have plenty of things tomorrow night leading into Ole Miss and Vanderbilt Saturday night from Vaught-Hemingway. Also, the Oxford Makers Market on the courthouse lawn, 10 to 4 on Saturday as well. So again, it's visit oxfordms.com, bookmark it, and see everywhere that you need to be in Oxford this week. So a little bit of, I guess call it breaking news-ish. I don't know. You call it whatever you want to. See this on Deadspin about Sports Illustrated?
Well, I saw Eric Edholm say something about Sports Illustrated, and I was busy this morning and did not follow up. What happened?
So, major layoffs today at Sports Illustrated. I'm shocked by these numbers, frankly. I mean, I had no idea how Sports Illustrated was doing or not doing, but I mean, when you have people I know, frankly, there, I'll read the paragraph that matters. It says, late Wednesday night, SI staffers received emails telling them to report to a transition meeting on Thursday. Staffers compared the emails and quickly realized there are two separate meetings at different times, and they fear that one of the groups will be given pink slips while the other is told it's safe. The cuts could be as deep as 50% of the staff. Half.
It's sobering, really. It's do people just not read anymore?
I don't know. I mean, I'm reading here. I'll read another paragraph because, I mean, this is pretty big news. It says one source within the company says the number being bandied about is 50% of full-time staff. The Wall Street Journal, which first reported on the pending layoffs, says more than 40 positions will be eliminated and replaced by contractors working for the Maven, a startup headed by a pair of extremely questionable people, which in June brokered a deal. Again, I'm reading from Deadspin. Brokered a deal to license Sports Illustrated from new owners Authentic Brands Group. The Maven's job listings already contain a number of SI positions, including, quote, expert writer and, quote, sport editor. And SI employees have noticed in recent days that multiple of the Maven contributors have started listing Sports Illustrated in their LinkedIn and Twitter profiles.
Yeah. I can say this. He sent me a text, right? One of the people from there sent me a text. This was on Tuesday, wanting to let me know of an acquisition of the iconic brand Sports Illustrated, blah, blah, blah. Been building a sports network for the past 12 months, but this will certainly supercharge what we are doing with over 28 million UU, I don't know what that means, visitors.
Unique users.
Okay, unique visitors per month in distribution. Basically saying, I know you're anchored in where you are, but if you have any interest, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's another reason you and I are looking into are going forward with what we're doing.
Well, that's what I was kind of saying. It sort of comes full circle as we're just having, but this is kind of like the old days a little bit. We're just having a conversation on the podcast as much as anything. You got to have a lot of funnels, and you better have some of those funnels be things that you are your own boss with.
Oh, there's no doubt. And we don't really get it anymore. We get it sometimes. We get a little bit of and I get people's, quote, frustration with, why don't you write more? Here's honest truth. I shouldn't say this out loud, but the podcast network's mine and yours. It's not owned by rivals. It's not their property. It's ours. Very few companies in this business are willing to do what The Athletic has done, what the New York Times has done, what the Washington Post has done, and that's put up a firewall, if you will. What's the word I'm looking for? It's
paywall.
A paywall, and stick to it. They don't protect us. There's nothing protecting us. So people, we work for a company, frankly, that can't decide which way they want to go, and they try to have their cake and eat it too, and therefore there's a certain stagnation. I can say that out loud. I said it to them. On one hand, we're a subscription model, and on the other hand, we're a clickbait model. And you're left to balance the two, and they're very difficult to balance. It's one of the reasons that a lot of us in this business are really cheering for The Athletic, because and the Washington Post and the New York Times, because I think that's the way to go. You get people that say, I'm not going to pay for news. Hell yes, you pay for news.
You pay a ton of money for ESPN every month.
People say Twitter's free. Well, Twitter's not free because you have to have some sort of a mobile device to get it. You have to have a Wi-Fi connection. You're paying someone, AT&T, C-Spire, whoever. It's not free. You're paying for news. If you're watching ESPN, most assuredly you are paying for it. It is not free. Not even close to free. So when people say that, I just go, hey, you don't get it. You are absolutely paying for news. And there are people, lots of people, who like good journalism, and they will pay for it. That's why the Washington Post is thriving. The New York Times is thriving. And The Athletic appears to work. Now, I'm skeptical, but not in a bad way. I'm hoping for their sake, because they do strong work. If you're a Cincinnati Reds fan, you subscribe to The Athletic. It's worth it. But for us, I mean, you know, we're trying to create a niche where if you're an Ole Miss fan, you want to be entertained by us and informed by us. But if we just sat here and depended on nothing but Rivals.com, I don't think either one of us would be here anymore.
And the irony in all this, credit to Rivals, might be the most stable media company from sports standpoint in the country.
Certainly possible.
I mean, I kind of want to knock on wood when I say that, but it's in the running.
It's in the running.
Because that's nothing else. The model is low overhead, and hey, it kind of pays for itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm rattled. Hopefully nothing happens to Ross Dellinger and some of the people that we like over there. We'll see. Tough day.
Well, that's the part that just blows you away is, I mean, and look, Ross would find another job within hours because he's so good at what he does. There's a lot of really quality people. They produce good work, but correct me if I'm wrong, there's no subscription model over there.
No, it's completely open. It's print and ad based. Pretty sure.
Yeah, print's dead. If you work at a print publication and you're counting on that to last you, that's insane. I've told this story. It was 2007, the Mobile Press Register, which was owned by Newhouse. At the time, they owned the Times-Picayune, the Birmingham News, the Huntsville Times, the Mobile Press Register, and others. And we would do this end-of-the-year evaluation thing. And when I first got there in 99, you know, they give you an evaluation. Here's what you're doing well. Here's what you're not doing well. Here's what we'd like to see more of. And here's your $50 a week raise. But you didn't worry about it because they were paying overtime. And I was on the Auburn beat, and man, I'd turn in 68 hours. I had to document where they were from, and they were legitimate hours. No problem, pay it. I was making a good bit of money from a newspaper standpoint. But by the end of 2007, when I asked questions, I didn't get answers, and I knew what it meant. I remember it, coming home and saying to Laura, this is not going to last. Actually, it was 2006. I was still doing radio, and I said, this is not going to last. The overtime's going to go away. The assignments are going to go away. The paper's getting smaller. This deal's changing, and they're not up to speed enough on the internet to cash in on it. There's trouble here. And sure enough, a year later, by that time I had lost the radio gig a month earlier, and in my evaluation, I walked out of that evaluation and picked up the phone, and if I remember, I called Bobby Burton, who at the time was with Rivals, and they had contacted me before, and I basically said thanks but no thanks, and I picked up the phone and called him and said, hey, if you're still interested, I'm interested. And I've told you this story. I had a conversation with him. I had to cover a Saints-Redskins game, Chase, in New Orleans that December day. I talked to him that Sunday morning, the whole drive, literally from my driveway in Spanish Fort to the parking garage of the Superdome. And then I said, hey, I got to cover this game. When I'm done, I'll call you back. And I called him when I got back on, I guess, I-10, leaving the Dome to drive back to Mobile that night, and talked to him all the way to the Causeway. And by the end of that day, we were pretty close to having something done. I knew the newspaper business wasn't going to work. And so here we are 11 and a half, 12 years later, and people are still hanging on to print. Print's dead. Young people don't read print. You and I talked about this yesterday, about the way young people consume media. Instead of criticizing it, I think people need to study it. Because the way this works, not to be a smartass, is that the people who are 20 now, in 10 years, will be 30. They're not changing. And in 20 more years, they'll be 50 and they'll have kids. And their kids aren't going to pick up print.
They're not. They're going to keep
You're right.
streaming.
This is just sitting here having a conversation like the old days, because it's scary as hell.
Yeah, no, it feels like 2012 when we just started talking.
Yeah, we speak to journalism classes. I don't. Summer Vincent, if you're listening, I don't know that you want me to come this time. I'm going to have a completely different conversation with kids that are getting into journalism. Why? What is your plan? Unless you are immensely talented, you're wasting your parents' money. There are no jobs. There are no high-paying jobs. Unless you are really talented and incredibly entrepreneurial, you need to get out of here right now, go find your advisor, and get into a different field where there are jobs.
I don't even know what this looks like in 10 years. No clue. I don't know.
That's what I want to say to people. Why are you in this? Why are you in this major? And if you're just taking this as an elective, good for you. But if you're planning to do this for a living, why? What's your plan?
I mean, I think our business in 10 years looks pretty much like it looks like now, to my simply internet-based team site.
I think so.
I think it's similar.
There's a market for this, obviously. If you are an Ole Miss fan, that's who we're talking to. If you're an Ole Miss fan, where do you get your news? How many reliable entities are there?
But it's going to have a whole lot of more offshoots into YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and whatever the next 10 of those services is, whatever the point is. those streaming services where you're more vocal, it's analysis, it's entertainment, it's face to face in a way, if you will. It's very front door.
It's the one thing I give us. I self-scout our product all the time, and I see things that are, we probably could do this better. We could do this better. I'll give us credit for being really entrepreneurial. Gabe DeArmond and I were having a conversation the other day. Gabe covers Missouri for Rivals.com, for those of you that don't ever listen to Greatest Pod in the South. And he was kind of criticizing himself. He said, I've spent a ton of time in the last couple of weeks on this story that's long. It's too long. It's really good. I'm really proud of it, but no one's going to read it. And it's certainly not going to make me any money. And my response to him was, then why don't you do it? And I say that to myself sometimes. I spent a lot of time last year on some in-depth basketball stories that I was proud of, and I thought they were good. And I'll probably do more
and
of
now
them.
They got good reaction. I mean, there is a middle ground there on content.
There is, and that's finding. That's where I was going. Finding that middle ground is the key. You do want to produce journalism because at the end of the day, that's what I think we consider ourselves. And you like to write. I like to write. I like to report. I enjoy the reporting process. I love a coaching search, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, if it's football or something, it's bigger, but that's a little tougher story sometimes. But I mean, I do think there is value to the site in the Devontae Shuler story, the Thomas Dillard story, the Swayze Field story, stuff like that.
I do too.
There are positives to that.
Yeah, the stuff that
it's the day-to-day minutia crap that, frankly, can be repackaged in different ways.
Exactly, I agree with that.
Just the stuff.
It's the people that insist on writing. It's frankly, I watch print people do it all the time. We're going to write a game story. Why? Totally. 20 years ago, I get it. If Ole Miss played Vanderbilt 20 years ago, the game wasn't on television this weekend, right?
Yeah, someone needed to know how it happened.
Yeah, how did it happen? But Ole Miss and Vanderbilt's on national television Saturday night. The odds are overwhelming if you're an Ole Miss fan. You don't need me to tell you how it happened, what happened, I should say. You want me to tell you why it happened, how it happened.
And then entertain me in the process.
Yeah. But Ole Miss won 27-17, and Plumlee and Corral each threw a touchdown pass, and you know it. You saw it. It was on television.
Yeah. And
you watched.
Go ahead.
You watched it. The days of getting up and getting your Sunday paper and reading the box scores, it's over. Like I remember. I mean, as a kid, right? I mean, I joked today about lifelong Braves fan because they play the Cardinals in a series. But I remember getting up as a kid. I got the Monroe News Star, and my parents did, the Shreveport Times sometimes. And I'd go to the box scores, and I'd see how different people did that night. How did the Royals do? I was a big George Brett fan. What did George Brett do? Well, if George Brett played today, I can get my phone. I can set up alerts to his at-bats. And I can literally watch with the pitch-by-pitch if I want to. I can watch every Royals game. If I decided today I want to become a Royals fan, dude, I can watch 162 Royals games on my device. I don't have to have somebody to tell me Royals lost to the Yankees 6-4 Tuesday night. I watched it. Pitch by pitch. There's all sorts of ways for me to consume it. So what I need, if I'm a Royals fan, I have no idea why I picked the Royals. I want to read the guy that breaks down why, okay, where do they go now? Why Mike Matheny? How's he going to be any different than what Ned Yost did? What's happening with the rebuild? Are they going to be able to keep Jorge Soler? What's going on with the Royals? I want depth. And I think that's where people will pay for depth. But I could be wrong. But I look at the Sports Illustrated thing and what you just read to me, laying off half a staff and stuff, and it tells me that model just doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. That's why the Gannett papers are all going out of business. I don't think the Gannett model works. Click, 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 click. And then young people put everything, the young journalists put everything on Twitter. And I've heard some of them say, I do it because my company wants everything on Twitter. They care more about Twitter than anything else. Man, I haven't gotten a check from Twitter yet.
Yeah. And I think Gannett's finally gone to a much more hard paywall, but it took forever and ever and ever to get there. So anyway, we'll continue in a second. First, I'll tell you about Mastercut's Lawn and Landscape, premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but a lot more as well. Custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces, with forestry mulching, and much more. The path to your dream backyard, easier than you think. It's GoMastercuts.com for a free quote, or 662-607-7773. That's GoMastercuts.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. We'll have a Mind on Your Money podcast. That's actually up. It's up late yesterday. So we talked cord cutting. We talked a lot of media stuff, actually, ironically. It is based in Madison, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They have advisors in more than in 3 states as well. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and so much more. The other thing they have is the 401k advisory services team, where if your company's 401k is not operating the way that you think it should be, get in touch with Pinnacle Trust. Their advisory services team will conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. And if you mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the Oxford Exxon podcast, you'll get 10% off your first year's fees. It's pintrust.com, P-I-N-N trust.com. We're also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. It's a Marriott property in downtown Jackson. It is home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. It's also home to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, where they have a wonderful craft cocktail menu, a curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. And Chef Caden's offerings are fantastic. You'll love it. It's a great place to stay if you're passing through Jackson on business or if you're in Jackson for pleasure. Go check out Estelle and Soul Spa and the Westin Jackson. We are also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about that golf trip with the guys, anniversary trip she'll never forget, if you're thinking about a cruise, a resort in Florida, the Caribbean, whatever the case may be, John has contacts with all of those types of trips and so much more. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. So if you're thinking about going with the boys to Pebble Beach or taking her to Napa or whatever the case may be, get in touch with John, give him some parameters, give him a budget, and he'll give you options. And you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Join the Ole Miss football team back at the Vaught for an SEC showdown and homecoming on Saturday versus Vanderbilt. For more information, visit OleMissTix.com. The 2019-20 Ole Miss Hoops season just around the corner. Don't miss any of the action of Coach Yo's women's basketball team, Coach Kermit Davis's men's team this season in the Pavilion. For tickets, visit OleMissTix.com and join the Ole Miss men's and women's hoops teams on Friday, October the 18th for Square Jam on the Oxford Square. Bring the family out to the free event featuring skills contest, player autographs, and a dunk contest to cap off the night. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com.
We'll get through picks. There's only 5 games this week. Sorry, my mic was muted there, so probably would be good to unmute it. Not much going on. Again, we were very mediocre. Everybody pretty much 2-3, other than one Mr. Wright, who was 3-2. So yeah.
Yeah, we have to shake it up next week.
This is the worst I've been through 5 weeks. This sucks.
Yeah, we're gonna have to add some. I almost added a few games this week.
You didn't add Michigan in.
I think we're going to start adding games next week.
Okay, like Michigan.
Yeah, like Michigan.
Like Michigan.
I almost put ULM Memphis. Memphis has to go to Monroe on Saturday afternoon.
It's scary.
ULM's played okay.
Have they?
Yeah, they actually have.
Okay. I haven't read your captions yet, so we'll get to that in a second, probably, potentially. Utah State plus 23.5 at number 5. LSU, 11 a.m. on the SEC Network. LSU getting that 11 a.m. matinee game on Saturday against the Fighting John Hartwells. And let's see. You have LSU covering. I have LSU covering. Yes, Jeffrey has 2. Yeah, everybody got LSU scoring a lot of points on the Aggies on Saturday.
Yeah, come on, man. It's going to be so hot down there.
You really think weather is going to play a factor here?
For kids from Logan, Utah?
It was snowing in Logan, Utah. I saw Hartwell's wife put something on Facebook the other day. It was snowing in Utah.
Why are you talking to John Hartwell?
Do what?
I'm kidding.
No hot blowing glaze. I don't know.
You're like, you son of a bitch.
Oh, God. Anyway.
I mean, that just seems random. That's all. I
know John. You know John. What's the problem?
I know John, yeah.
Okay. It was snowing in Utah, is my point.
Chase will now get 15 phone calls this morning going, what's going on? Something going on with Hartwell?
Yeah. Joe Burrow's going to score a lot of points.
Yeah. You know, the one thing that's interesting in that game is Utah State goes fast. They go really fast. And I just think they're going to absolutely burn themselves out.
Yeah, that's not the best strategy on Saturday.
You know how hot it's going to be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in that stadium?
Are we all getting hoodwinked by this game? Number 7 Auburn, minus 3.5 at number 10 Florida, 2:30 CBS. Jeffrey, the only one to resist the urge to take the Tigers.
And he says he hates himself already for his pick. Look, man, I just think I know what I've seen with Auburn. They went to Dallas and they beat Oregon. They went to College Station and just whipped Texas A&M. I don't think the Swamp's going to intimidate them. It's a big-time game. The winner of this is absolutely in the national title mix at the end of the day Saturday. Not saying they're going to stay in it, but they'll be in it.
What worries me a little, and I took Auburn to cover the line handedly, I do think Florida's front 7 can give Bo Nix some trouble and at least disturb him more than he's been disturbed to this point.
Well, they better.
If something goes funny, that's my concern.
My thing with them is I watched what they did defensively to Mississippi State. And I know State's not all that. I get it. In fact, I think State's average to below average as a football team and have been consistent on this all year. But boy, Auburn whipped them. I mean, whipped them. So I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen enough of Florida. I tell you, the problem with me is that there's a little recency bias. I watched Florida play Kentucky, and I don't think Kentucky's very good. And Kentucky should have won the game. Kentucky beat themselves in the fourth quarter.
Troy plus 25.5. The Trojans in Columbia, Missouri, 3 p.m. SEC Network. It just felt like too many points for me. I took Troy. Missouri's going to win, but almost 4 touchdowns just seemed a little extreme against a team that can score a few points from here and there.
Barry Odom teams don't play particularly well off of an open date. They always kind of come out sluggish. They had an open date. Troy can score, like you said. Mizzou's going to win, but I think it's going to be hard for them to be super duper locked in, focused, and all that stuff. They've got an SEC home game next week against Ole Miss. This kind of feels like a get in, get out, win by 20 kind of a game.
Number 3, Georgia, minus 25 at Tennessee, 6 p.m. ESPN. I just don't see how Tennessee scores. I think Georgia can score more than 30, hence I like Georgia covering the line.
Yeah, Jeffrey points out, and he's right, that all the sharps are all over Tennessee on this.
They can have it.
They can have it. If you get it right, kudos to you guys.
Yeah, but I'm going into that game I would much rather be pulling for Georgia in a blowout than Tennessee to score points.
And if you're Georgia, you, as proven by what happened to Clemson last week in the polls and stuff, Style points matter now. Go get them. Is it crazy for me to say right now? Tell me if you think I'm nuts. I think there are 4 SEC teams and maybe 5 that are better than Clemson.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you 3 for sure because I do think Clemson's down right now. Relatively, obviously. Who's your 4? You think Auburn's better?
If Clemson and Auburn played on a neutral site, and then Clemson and Florida played on a neutral site, what would you set the line?
Okay, Clemson is beating Florida. I just can't like Florida enough to score.
What would the line be? They played each other in Dallas.
Clemson -8.
Okay. What's the line if Clemson and Auburn play out at Arizona, the Cardinals' place?
Clemson. I think Clemson is favored in a Vegas line, but it's really close, and I do think Auburn has the type of personnel to potentially win that football game. Yeah, but I think the line is like Clemson 2.5 or something.
Okay. What's the Clemson LSU line again in Miami?
I think it's LSU by 1 or 2.
What's the Clemson Georgia line today in Miami?
Georgia by 3.5 to 4.
And then what's the Clemson Alabama line? Pick your neutral side. I don't care.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
It's a guess. It's what would make me comfortable as a picker. Put it that way. That's a line that wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of those.
Yeah, Florida's the one I just can't see beating Clemson, but everybody else I'd give a puncher shot.
This is why I think Florida beats Auburn. I mean Auburn beats Florida. I think Auburn's better than Florida. I just think it's simple as that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I mean, I'm in last place. I'm in first place in picking the overall winners.
Well, that's there. Hey, there's that. There should be a trophy for that too.
All that's keeping Isabel employed right now. I mean, she is hanging on by a thread.
If you read a newspaper, you'd be Goldings. That's what you got to do is pick the winner.
Yeah.
Just saying. Thank God we don't do that money thing anymore. That got really complicated a few years ago.
Yeah, it was too much math.
Yeah, that was unnecessary. Having a budget and figuring out if we're up or down, I'm good.
Yeah, no. That was a Jeffrey Wright production.
It was.
And unless he was willing to put the work in, nope.
Night game, SEC Network, Vanderbilt plus 7.5 at Ole Miss, 6:30. I already said SEC Network. You've got a blowout. Zach has a blowout. Jeffrey has a semi-close game, and I have a close game. I have Ole Miss winning, but Vanderbilt covering. I don't think Vanderbilt is good. I really don't. Ole Miss's quarterback situation, not any of them personally, just that there's this type of odd uncertainty where the starting quarterback's not going to know he's starting until Saturday kind of bugs me a little bit for Ole Miss. And just, I get you hate this because I worry about it more than you do. The history here, I just don't like. This could easily turn into 2017 where Shea Patterson ran all over Vanderbilt and it was 55-20 or something and was a tremendous blowout. But it's 5-5 over the last 10. Ole Miss is only 4-6 against the spread in the last 10 against Vanderbilt. So, in a way, I just go, hey, all things aside, it's going to be fairly close. Take the points.
Well, I mean, given the history, I am usually one to go, I don't care. It means nothing to me. And in general, it means nothing to me. I don't think either Matt Corral or John Rice Plumlee or both are running around going, gosh, man, the history of this game. But here's what the history matters. If you're Vanderbilt, when you get your schedule at the beginning of the year, you look at this game and you go, we can get that one. Because history says you can. Recent history says you can get it half the time. They'll come in here absolutely confident Saturday night. And if you let them hang around, it gets tense. I just sense a blowout coming. I don't know. I sense a breakout coming for Ole Miss. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just not reading it right. There was some confidence out there Tuesday that some young guys are really on the verge of putting it together. And I thought I saw some of that on Saturday. But again, in proper context, that was when some of that stuff started happening. Bama was up 35. They had turned off the engines a little bit, you know? So I don't know. Well, I'll tell you this, and we've said this all week, it is one hell of a big game.
The game that you almost had at the picks and didn't is Iowa at Michigan, and that game is at 11 a.m. on Fox on Saturday.
I think Michigan's a 5.5-point favorite.
I don't have it in front of me.
Be interesting to see Michigan against an Iowa team that's pretty good on defense.
It's an under-the-radar game. I mean, obviously, because we follow them a little bit with the whole Will Hall angle. Army-Tulane Saturday is kind of an under-the-radar, interesting game.
Oh, it's potentially a really fun game.
Tulane on the verge of being pretty good. Army 3-1.
Should be 4.
Army should be 4-0. Oh, the Michigan thing. Yeah.
Army's really physical. Tulane's dynamic on offense. Tulane is. Tell you, this is the guy that never gets any talk, and I don't know why. And I can't. If someone says, "Tell me about Willie Frist," I really can't. But he's done a hell of a job there, and that's a hard job, man.
He's not going to win American Coach of the Year, but he's done a heck of a job.
Who's going to win it?
SMU.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're ranked. They actually, I think Ross Dellinger put this out. Memphis is the only game this season where they're probably going to be not favored the rest of the way. SMU has a legitimate chance to go unbeaten this year. Probably won't, obviously, but...
It'd be a cool story.
Ranked for the first time since the Pony Express.
Chad Morris was asked about it yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, I'm happy for those guys, and boy, we recruited a bunch of guys, but did this and this and this, but I don't want to take any credit." And I was like, no,
everybody on that roster I brought in, but hey, good for them.
Yeah, I was like, no, you need to claim some credit because you need some capital right now.
Yeah, if you can convince a couple Arkansas guys, preferably that work for like Walmart or Tyson or somebody, that you're doing a good job, that'd be great right now.
What happened there is happening here. Just stay the course.
Yeah. Gosh, we'll take our final break about G&M Pharmacy there on South Lamar in Oxford, 662-236-2222. And with flu season quickly approaching, Tyson Drugs G&M have flu vaccines available with a $0 copay on most insurance plans. No one has time to wait in line for the overworked pharmacist at the chain drugstores. So stop by one of their locally owned pharmacies where they have multiple pharmacists available dedicated to getting you in and out as quickly and painlessly as possible. That's Tyson Drugs on the Square in Holly Springs, or G&M off South Lamar in Oxford. Again, 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Harry Alexander. He's an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent and a big part of Savannah Square, is where I was headed with my statement. My mind was ahead of my mouth. Savannah Square's new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. If you're heading up this weekend for Ole Miss Vanderbilt, and you are thinking about retiring in Oxford, moving to Oxford, relocating, whatever the case may be, get in touch with Harry. There are several homes in different stages of development out there at Savannah Square. You can also look at the model home at 215 William Street. They have wonderful layouts, impeccable finishes. You can check all of that out by getting in touch with Harry. It's SavannahSquareOxford.com, or give him a call or a text at 662-801-5621. Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you want, all with the personal touch. They also give you a commercial checking account, now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. Comes with fully interactive online banking, They can set up any local business to deposit checks from their office and not have to worry with coming to the bank daily to deposit those checks. More than likely, any business owner at another bank is now paying a monthly fee for their account, and they're most assuredly not making 1% on their money. So if you want to learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668, OUB-FDIC insured. Oxford Park Commission Youth Basketball just a bounce away. This is the final week to sign up for the upcoming season. Registration will come to a close tomorrow, Friday, October the 4th. Leagues are open for both boys and girls, ages 5 to 15. The cost to play is just $50. Visit their website, oxfordparkcommission.com, for more details on the 2019-2020 season.
Okay, again, muted. Expected, but still news. The newspaper out of Arizona with quotes from Robert Roberts that he is not going to be the chancellor at Ole Miss, that he's not at all interested at all. So he has fully come out and said he's out. So that's at least 3 of the 8 that are out, maybe 4. Not sure if Chris Howard's interest, although I saw on Twitter, I think Dickie Scruggs kind of promoted Chris Howard yesterday.
Saw that.
No one's told me this, just me thinking. I'm getting a little nervous about some issues with the pull strength at this point, which would be a path towards certain things. Let's put it that way.
Path towards my prediction coming true?
I'm just saying there's a. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to let you get away with that.
Okay.
Because I can hear people going, nope, you're asking me to read between the lines more than I should have to read between the lines. And in this case, the lines
look, I have no proof that this is whatever, but for a long time, everybody keeps mentioning Glenn Boyce. I don't know. Beats me. I don't know the man. No clue. But they've always said the way that you would get
Glenn
there.
Boyce from the get-go.
Do what?
I know somebody who has predicted Glenn Boyce for virtually the entire time.
So, again, he's not a candidate. Best I can tell, he tells people he doesn't want the job based on who I've talked to.
You know what, though? If he really was telling people that, you wouldn't hear this buzz.
I don't know. Just it's what I'm told.
I don't know the man. And
I don't either.
He's welcome on the show to tell me that, hey, dude, I would never, ever take it. I'm just doing my job. But somebody somehow has the belief that he would do it. And if you would do it, that means that you at least are willing to want it.
So my point being is I thought the whole time that any path to that actually happening would be a pool that was not satisfactory. Well, obviously the original pool was pretty satisfactory. Frankly, it was pretty good. I mean, those 30 names or whatever, there was a lot of good stuff in there. But as it is dwindling, the pool is less and less and less. And now you only need one. I mean, I guess if you want to just offer it to Bill Hargrave tomorrow, you did a good job and you get an A and we all move on with our lives. But the path to something screwy happening was if the pool lessened and weakened. And we can argue about what and why and how and whatever, but the public nature of it has forced sitting presidents to pull out. It has weakened the pool that is remaining, and it is a process that is completely detrimental to hiring the utmost candidate here in this. So I'm just saying that the steps necessary for that theory that people have had for a long time, at least in some infancy, are coming to fruition. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Is that fair?
It's fair.
Okay.
So let me ask this.
Sure.
You've spent a lot of time on this.
Sure. Kind of stopped.
You have. You've slowed down. What's the argument against a guy like, and I have been determined not to advocate someone, but what's the argument against a guy like Hargraves at Auburn, the provost there?
Oh, I don't know if there is one. Everybody, literally, I mean, I'm not being funny. Everyone I speak to is high on him. Everyone.
And he wants it.
Yes.
And
that is confirmed. He wants it.
From all indications, would take it.
Yes.
And can afford to go through the process because he's a provost.
That is correct. Yes. Nobody at Auburn's mad at him for pursuing the Ole Miss chancellor job.
They'd throw him a very happy going away party.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get it. He makes so much more sense than Glenn Boyce, frankly. He'd be more exciting. This place, I'm not in touch with the pulse of Ole Miss the way you probably are, the way a lot of people are. But this is a great place. It just needs a pick-me-up. I think he would provide it. He's energetic. He's a good, and I'm not advocating. I'm really not. I just think he would inject some adrenaline into the veins. And frankly, that's really kind of all it needs. When everybody goes, oh, it's just total chaos. No, it's not. It's not. Drive around that campus. It's not chaos. It's a beautiful campus. It's got a lot of great things going for it. I've been on a lot of campuses. It's cool. Just needs a little oomph, adrenaline. I don't think even the most hardcore Ole Miss person would argue that. I don't see how hiring someone that everybody goes, oh, man, come on, really? I don't see how that does it. Got to bring in somebody with some ideas, with some energy, some enthusiasm. This guy would probably hit the ground kind of pumped up, ready to go. Look at the success that they've had at Arkansas with building the university, the success they've had at Auburn across the board. I don't know why you wouldn't want to try to tap into some of that with someone who has knowledge of those places and places like those places.
We have a thread up on the board, people giving us name suggestions for this YouTube endeavor. It's a pretty good one so far, actually.
It's a funny one.
I've got a few candidates here that might have a shot. If we pick your name, we'll send you something. I don't know what it'll be. We'll send you something.
Yeah, we'll send you some stuff.
Yeah, we got stuff.
We got lots of stuff.
Yeah, we got stuff. We'll send you some stuff. We'll probably give out some stuff on the first show too, to be honest.
Oh, for sure.
So we have that. My favorite reply to the thread is not a name recommendation, but Grind City Reb says, I expect Neil and Chase to form a committee, have a few listening circles, and then decide on the name sometime in 2021.
Well, we gotta make sure that we hear everybody first.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be heard.
We need a commission, really, on the name.
Yeah.
Got to get everybody in a room.
You know, we could form a commission.
We could.
You could pick 5 or 6 people in that thread and let them form a commission, and they could have meetings.
And they give us recommendations.
And we can either take those recommendations or we can
throw them away and go about our own business.
And come up with our own damn name.
It's true. There's a blueprint for this.
There is. It's playing out right in front of us.
Okay, we pissed off enough people today. Back to this isn't even the freaking Friday show of the week. We've still got a Friday show tomorrow.
What the hell are we gonna do tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know what we'll do. We might call Chris Lee and talk some Vanderbilt or something. I don't know.
All right, last thing, are you pumped up for your Braves back in the playoffs?
Dude, I feel like if you're trying to root for the Saints in 2013, I don't deserve this. I have not followed a Braves game since the infield fly rule game. I have not been emotionally invested in a Braves game since the infield fly rule. I can't jump in now. I mean, I will watch because I'm interested. I like baseball, but I don't care. I'd like to see them win, but no, there's no. Unlike you, who have lifelong ties, I can't get in on this.
Hey, they're painting the end zone powder blue.
I saw it.
There's proof.
It's coming.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but it is coming.
Well, if it's powder blue jerseys, I'm going to get mad at a couple of people because I got straight lied to.
You're going to be a little annoyed?
Not bad, because I'm not on the uniform beat. I do think powder blue jerseys are coming. I just don't think they're coming now.
Okay.
But if they do and that makes people happy, then cool.
Whatever.
I mean, again, along those lines of sometimes just give the people what the people want. Play, as Jeffrey always says, play the hits.
Mm-hmm.
They want powder blue, give them powder blue.
You go to a Garth concert, you want the oldies.
Yeah, you can play some of your new stuff, but
hey, let's.
Yeah,
at some point they're expecting Friends in Low Places.
I'm here to sing along.
Yeah.
If I go see Journey, you're going to play Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah. All right, Neil's picks up. It is already in the Rivals system out in cyberspace somewhere. I'll pull the 5 questions that Chris Lee and I exchanged too. Put that up on the site at rebelgrove.com. Got a good bit of stuff. We'll be back tomorrow with our podcast. Got
a beer garden coming. Yep. SEC basketball. It's really good with Blake Lovell and
a soft verbal.
Zach and I taped a soft verbal last night. We kind of went over the hot boards both for basketball and football. So a lot coming to you.
Okay, that'll be up soon. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.